Today, I'll be giving you an update on what's new with Psychtoolbox, in particular since the VSS meeting in 2019. To start with, I'll just give an overview about Psychtoolbox. It's an open source toolbox that allows you to flexibly design your experiments with reliable timing and the most advanced features available. It's optimally used with the open source Linux operating system, and that's because its development on Linux also includes optimizing Linux for the best possible timing and features that wouldn't be available otherwise. If you think about it, if you want the best possible timing for your experiment, you want control over what the operating system is doing, and that's exactly what Psychtoolbox does on Linux. Psychtoolbox is also available for other operating systems, but for Windows and macOS, it's more of a black box that Psychtoolbox then sort of works on top of. Psychtoolbox also works well on GNU Octave as a free MATLAB alternative for general common use cases, just giving you as many options as possible for how you want to design your experiments. Psychtoolbox has a really thriving community. It's cited by over 30,000 articles as of May 2022. And there are lots of toolboxes that also build on top of Psychtoolbox in order to extend functionality in particular domains of interest. We named just a few here, but there are many such toolboxes. Some of Psychtoolbox is also used as an engine in Python-based toolboxes like CircuitPy3, also giving the option of Python in some cases. I'm going to just do a general quick overview of the notable new features. Multi-touch touchscreen support. This has been available for a while with advanced support on Linux, and now basic support is also available on Windows. High dynamic range is a new feature. This is something that allows you to have a greater range of brightnesses than previously possible. The best performance is on Linux with AMD graphics, but there are also options for Windows, a little bit for macOS, and also some options for NVIDIA graphics. There's also high dynamic range movie playback available on Linux and Windows. Psychtoolbox has a new Vulkan display backend. This is something that was necessary for the high dynamic range options, but it also should be something that allows new future display features in future extensions. Variable refresh rate is another really exciting new feature. This is something that allows, rather than having a fixed refresh rate like 60 Hertz on a common monitor, you have the ability to delay the presentation of a frame, allowing you to do things like show a movie at just a specific different refresh rate, or even to sort of dynamically change the refresh rate. So there's loads of potential exciting applications for this, and you want to be using that with Linux and AMD for the best advanced support at the moment. 12-bit color precision. This is something that allows you to have much more fine-grained steps of color than previously possible. This is a world first for Linux with AMD graphics, and Mario has also been preparing Linux for future 16-bit graphics and display hardware. There are also MATLAB installer improvements just for easier setup without, for example, needing the separate Subversion client installation. There's also support now for hybrid graphics laptops on Linux. These are laptops that have two graphics cards, which could sometimes cause issues in terms of visual timing. Those are now supported on Linux. There are some visual timing fixes for macOS. This allows proper timing on most Intel Macs with AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA GPUs. There's unfortunately, though, no solution at present for the new Apple M1 Macs. These have a lot of changes in the hardware, which causes difficulties. And in general, macOS isn't recommended at present due to many OS operating system bugs. Generally, you want to be using Linux to have the best features and the best of everything. SiteBuilder is another interesting new development. This is a third-party graphical user interface that allows you to do simple experiment building. It's something similar to the Psychtoolbox builder that you might have heard of. Okay, now things that are coming soon. Mario is currently working on OpenXR virtual reality support. This will improve the current VR support in Psychtoolbox, also adding the possibility for the first time of AR and XR support. And this will be on a wider range of VR hardware than at present. There's a new VPix service to run Psychtoolbox experiments online in the web, and this is something that they'll be talking about, I think, in the session after this one. And Mario is also planning for further improvements to the variable refresh rate to allow even more precise and robust fine-grained visual timing on Linux with VRR. And he even has a working prototype, but this needs a bit more funding and more time to be fully realized. So those were all the kind of good, exciting things going on in Psychtoolbox land, but we do have a problem still of needing your help in terms of financial support. This XKCD image kind of explains the issue that Mario Kleiner in particular has been the main developer of Psychtoolbox for a long time, and kind of the amount of things within Psychtoolbox, as well as also things built around Psychtoolbox that need to be kept up and maintained, has kind of really exploded. And this is a problem that this needs to be somehow, the time that this takes needs to be paid somehow. And we had this idea to develop this community membership program where labs could make small contributions. That was mostly based on a previous survey where about a third of over 1,000 labs said that they would contribute if they had the ability to do so. But unfortunately, so far, less than 50 labs have actually done that. So we really need your help in terms of purchasing these. We call them community memberships in the past, we're now calling them support memberships, to help to support Psychtoolbox and make it sustainable for the long term. So how you can help. You can buy a Psychtoolbox support membership for your lab. This costs €150 plus tax. I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. Businesses can join our partner program. And you can also contract us for new feature development, which is something then more flexible and perhaps specific to your particular case. So the Psychtoolbox support membership, the idea is that this gives you 30 minutes of expert support directly from Mario Kleiner, the main developer of Psychtoolbox, on a Psychtoolbox related question and issue. And he can really help you with a lot of things in general. If you've got something that's that you're just not quite sure how to get working with your experiment, you find a bug potentially, you're not sure if it's in the operating system, he can kind of help you to figure that out. So any unused funds go towards maintenance and new features. So you can just buy one of these and you don't necessarily have to have a question in mind already. Actually, we would prefer you to do that and to keep it like an insurance. In particular, if you have an issue and you need more than 30 minutes, which most questions probably will, each additional hour of support will be at a rate of €300 plus tax. But if you have a support membership and you keep that up regularly, if you're a long-term member, so that's after about 6 months to a year, you'll receive a really large discount on that rate. So essentially the idea is, if you help us by funding us financially in that small amount of €150 a year, then you'll receive the lowest rate of support if you have an issue. Otherwise, you will have to pay a high rate to get help with your experiment, which could be quite costly. For businesses, you can join the Psychtoolbox partner program. That has 2 levels, platinum and gold, which basically just depend on the needs of your business. And the idea is that if you have a business that relies on Psychtoolbox or uses Psychtoolbox, we can proactively integrate and test your partner software and or hardware compatibility with current Psychtoolbox versions. So that'll mean that any potential bugs that might cause issues for your users will be found as quickly as possible and can be fixed then basically meaning that they probably won't reach end users. So that's a great option for businesses using Psychtoolbox. You can also contract us for new features. So maybe your lab has a particular experimental paradigm in mind that would require new features from Psychtoolbox, or maybe your business would like new Psychtoolbox functionality. You can contract us basically to, and we can discuss, a possible plan to develop Psychtoolbox functionality that's specific for your needs and your use case. A few examples of past successful contract work with the High Dynamic Range project that was funded by VSS, the virtual reality work, and for example, the Apple macOS timing fixes. And these are just to name a few. This can be sort of small or big, depending on what kind of things you need. And the best thing is to just get in touch. The last thing, we are currently conducting a Psychtoolbox user survey to better understand the needs of Psychtoolbox users. This would be great to help us understand what things you need from Psychtoolbox and what kinds of things that we can offer as financial services to help fund us and also to give you things that you need. You can check Twitter for details or also follow this QR code link here to take part. And as a thank you, upon completion, you'll receive a discount code for your next Psychtoolbox support membership purchase. Okay, thanks for listening. I would like to just remind you to visit psychtoolbox.net to buy a Psychtoolbox support membership for your lab. You can also follow us now on Twitter at Psychtoolbox. That will give you updates about Psychtoolbox as well as tips and tricks on using Psychtoolbox. Please remember to take part in our survey. You can follow the link here, or it's also on Twitter. And if you have follow-up questions to this presentation, the best place to go would be the Psychtoolbox community forum on Discourse.